Now, what am I gonna fucking talk about? This is my sheet. I've got a sheet of words. The price of solitude is solitude. Well, solitude's not new, I don't think, in my life. I feel I've had that most of the time. You know, when I was when I was a kid, I didn't really have that many friends, and I was awkward and weird and would go into the library to read during lunchtime, and you know, the nerds thought I was strange, and that's okay. But I always did spend a lot of time by myself, and you know, in university too, I don't know, I couldn't make friends as easily. And so for the last 2 years, I've left the country, and I've been traveling around, you know, place to place, month here, couple months, maybe 3 months tops. But, you know, it's just so hard moving on all the time and never being able to set down roots or develop proper friendships or anything like that. And now I've appeared in Bogotá, and I had the vague inkling that this would be a good place to be because it was like a big city with lots of people in it, and apparently a thriving art scene where I might be able to disappear into and start creating something social for myself, something to hold on to. I thought one place is as good as any other, and well, the most important thing really is money, you know, and art, and how to balance those things, and time, money, and art, and that's really the thing. I think I want to consider myself as an artist, as awful as that is in so many contexts. I don't even know, but every other job seems so not banal. It seems boring. It seems slightly boring. But I thought with art there was no limit to what you could learn. There was no limit to what you could try to do. Everything in your life becomes a learning opportunity, and you know, if you want to be good, you got to learn a lot. And you got to have a lot of time to learn a lot, unless you're, for some reason, incredibly gifted immediately. And I don't know how realistic that is for anyone, honestly. I think art takes time, and it takes a lot of time, a huge amount. I've spent most of my life making really bad stuff, and maybe I'm still making bad stuff. I don't know. I at least like to think that it's probably better than what I was doing a couple years ago. I spent the last 5 years, I think, trying to learn as much as possible, and I still look at the mountain in front of me and balk. You know, there's so much, all these dead words and all these old concepts, and this new life which seems to be coming for us all, which has very little to do with the history of our planet. So I decided, you know, a long time ago, 5 years ago, that if I wanted to really try this thing and become a writer or a musician, I would have to spend a lot of time doing it before I got anywhere, and probably, you know, well, I'm not going to say probably not going to get anywhere, but I would have to spend a lot of time doing it before anything could happen which would take me out of the sort of day-to-day struggle of trying to exist and not work, or work the least amount as possible. I moved into my car and saved every penny I could, and spent all the days, as much of the day as I could, reading, and eventually, though it was harder, trying to write songs and write stuff of my own. And you know, there was a gap that started forming, I think, between me and other people. That's what I felt, you know. They would be working their jobs, and I was on the benefit, you know, a dull bludger. And the things I cared about started being different. And that felt pretty bad, honestly. Like, I'd always felt sort of slightly on my own. And who's to say what's right to do? I have no idea if what I'm doing is the right thing. And many people will probably think it's not. But it's too late for me. You know, I've already started. And I've got to see it out to the end, I think. My laptop lid's in the way. This is unprofessional. But you know, there's that pyramid. There's that pyramid. How's it go? Maybe I can find a graphic or something. There's the pyramid that they based all the education systems off of, right, or something like that. And it goes through the levels of interaction you have with subjects and information. And all the way up the top is creation. To create something, is the hardest thing to do with all that information, they say. I think I agree. It's easy to absorb, but what do you do with all that stuff floating around in your head? I've been trying to figure it out, but there's a lot to it, it seems. And the process of creation, like whatever's happening there is very complicated, I think, and potentially quite spiritual. And that's sort of almost the thing, to create slowly leads you into the realm of the imagination. There seems to be quite the connection between imagination and spirit, if spirit is even the right thing to call that. I'm not sure. I was an atheist for a long time. I'm not sure what I am. And it takes time. So much time. I'm tired. I'm very tired. And I've been depressed, I've been sad. I've been here. My room has been getting messier. I've been struggling to read. I've been struggling to write. I've been struggling to do all these things because I feel incredibly alone, And there are people around me, but for some reason it's not hitting. It's not getting through. I feel like I want more. I want real community in the purest sense of the word. I'm trying to find that. But I guess I want to find the right community, the community that will support all its members into realizing as much of their potential as possible. And if it's not that, if it's the wrong community, then maybe you won't get there, That's what I feel deep down, is if I'm not surrounded by the right people, I may as well sort of be alone, because alone I can progress. Or I can try my best to. But it's not nice to be constructing a tower, and it'll be a nice tower with a winding staircase. But if you're alone in it, it loses a lot of the charm, I think. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. But I don't know how to. I don't know where to be in the world. I don't feel like I have a home to return to in a lot of ways. New Zealand for me has never really felt too home-like, and I haven't got many friends there still, I've always felt better while traveling, while experiencing different sort of realities and making friends from other places in the world. And I do have friends. I'm not like all alone all the time. I swear I think I have some social skills hidden deep within me somewhere. But my friends are dispersed in different countries and different places. They're not with me. I've had some really strong connections with people, and a lot of them still exist, but with a lot of distance, I want to collect all the great people I've met and put them in one place. I almost want to try create the place where they would come to. That's my vague ambition. But I'm not sure if this is the place. I thought it might be the place, but there was no reason behind it. It was just intuition that maybe this was the right direction to go in. Because I can live here and teach English for 10 hours. As ethically dubious as that is, I can teach English online for 10 hours, 12 hours a week, and make enough to live. I ate the same food twice a day: rice, lentils, broccoli, some can of something which says fish, but I'm not sure what type of fish it is. And what I also have is these 3 bags, which I go through: a pound of peanuts, a pound of semillas de girasol, and grapes. Once every 4 days or so at the moment. And like that, I hope to balance my fat, carbohydrates, and protein, and your vegetables and fruits and all that sort of stuff. And I do. I think it's enough. And then I hardly have to cook, I can put on the stove. It's got a timer. It says 30 minutes. I know approximately the right amount of water to put in. It boils away, and then about 45 minutes I come back when it's cooled down a little bit, pop in some eggs, and bang, I'm away. I eat and look out the window and munch on some nuts. And that gives me more time, all the fucking time in the world. If I could only get out of bed at the right time, if I could only sleep properly, which is another thing. But I am collecting the hours that I generally spend by myself in this room, which seems to be reverberating my slight melancholy back at me all the time. And that's why I like moving, because I feel if I'm too long in a place, it starts gathering too much of this sadness, and being somewhere else is a great way to start fresh. And hopefully if you start fresh enough, you'll forget how to make the sadness or something like that. I don't know. And I know I can be happy. I've been happy before, and people are what make me happy. I know that to be true. And it's the isolation which does it. It's the solitude. But isn't that what I asked for? I wanted time. I want time to read. I want time to create. I want time to learn. And all these things are very solitary actions. And I've taken myself away from the place I was born. I've taken myself away from relationships that seemed to take too much of my time. And I've barricaded myself in these little green rooms in various places to study. And I want to know so many things which I don't. But I love all the different experiences that there are now and in the history of humankind, and the crazy possibilities that could be coming in the future. You know, it's astounding. And we're only this tiniest, you know, bit of whatever this crazy universe thing is. At least I'm learning some Spanish. I'm getting through my 100 años de soledad, which, you know, this is where solitude was perfected, because all these books are different lives. They're different cultures, different societies, and somewhere in the middle of all that, you know, I feel is a grain of truth which I'm trying to find, and with that grain of truth, potentially I could mix that through my own soul or whatever's in there and spout something eventually which is true as well, if I figure out what that is. And I am proud in a way of what I've accomplished, what I have learned in this time, because the price has been high. And I just hope that someday it will be worth it. Someday there will be happiness and community and all that sort of stuff. And I have a very specific idea of what I want and what happiness means for me and how to get there. I just know now is a continuation of this solitude which I have been feeling for a long time. And I have to fight against it. And some days it is easier, some days it is harder. Some days I can meditate and be very fine with just being by myself. And some days I intensely crave the connection that I'm lacking. And it's hard to get up every day and face the same sort of problem, which may be changing, but in a very, very slow way. And you know, I want to stay here and try. Because maybe it is the first time in my life where I have actually been able to work relatively small enough for a living. I don't have to volunteer at some strange farm in Vienna or deal with some high-minded pseudo-philosopher's paradise. And I hope that doesn't end up to be me either. I'm trying to get a visa to stay. I am trying to put together a project that will take me closer to community. But I'm on very shaky ground, and I don't know if I have to pack up my life again in a few weeks and head to another country. Should I go back home? Should I go to Europe where I can't afford this lifestyle? Where I'd have to work a real job and probably become sad because I feel like I'm not pursuing the potential of what I could achieve. I've become a tumbleweed, as my friend who tried to get me to stop and get a job in a library said. And I do not have any answers at the moment. In a couple months, I'm going to be 27, you know. It's still young. I still have time to make mistakes. I fear I'm losing my best years in my solitude. But maybe this is the right thing to do. And I hope I will come out on the other side. Maybe, I think 30 is a good time for that. It gives me a couple years of whatever this is. And, you know, I would like to be a father. I would like to do these things. And I want to make space for them, which I would have wanted. And where I don't have to look after them all the time, you know, because there's more people around. It's like the whole Aldous Huxley's island thing, you know. It takes a village to raise a kid. These nuclear families are breeding insular people. And so I keep on keeping on, you know. And I'm making a video I don't really know why. I'll probably look back at this and be quite embarrassed. But I am an embarrassing guy sometimes, so I think that's okay. And there are moments where my shell is broken. Like my friend who I met a couple months ago. And she came through the other day and helped me clean my room, put things in nice places. And I felt better. And I still feel a little better. And she made me some sculptures. And when she was putting the things up on the wall, I thought, you know, this is a lovely little moment. And it made me want to get my video camera, my crummy video camera out, and was the impetus for me to make this. So I'll leave you with those little videos now. And maybe I'll do this again sometime.
Okay, I made sculptures. They broke. So this is actually a ear. Yes.
It goes that way?
It goes that way.
Okay.
And the legs are... Everything broke on the travel.
Okay.
But this has a lot of character. It's like a little dog. It's like the dog from Up. Like this is a very sweet dog. He would like do everything for you.
Okay.
And this dog is like more of a rebel, and
He
he's
looks like
very
a rebel.
pride.
That's
And the other one knows that he's very stupid. But stupid ones are the best, like you.
Thank you. That's sweet. Are you making an altar?
Yeah. Oh no, this is not working. I want to film you.